right, so I think we're just going to go ahead and start. This whole live on Facebook is a different way of communicating with the EDS community. This is basically the premise of EDS Wellness, is to really make sure that there are programs and services and different things that we can reach people, or I can reach people, and then hopefully people will be able to help me reach people, but to develop programs, services, help you guys find the information and resources and tools that you need to either live well or move more. I can't promise the world, but I can try. At least try to help you find a way to live more comfortably, move more, find a way to comfortably move, decrease pain. I am Kendra Nielsen-Miles. I started EDS Wellness probably about 5 years ago. It was EDS Patient Solutions. It was an LLC, for-profit, but it was very much on the side. It was definitely not really something I made profit on. It was just my way of trying to figure out what the best way to help the community. I actually went nonprofit this year. EDS Wellness is a 501c3 approved nonprofit. I already had a number of projects and programs that I was already working on, I'd already implemented, and it was time now to go nonprofit because I felt strongly in doing so, doing it the right way, and doing it with work behind me. With that being said, my degree is in public health. I am a certified health education specialist, currently about to get my yoga certification, and I'm also in a restorative exercise specialist program, which is a program that's based upon the biomechanics of the body and understanding ways that we can not necessarily exercise better, but also just move better throughout our day to protect ourselves and to not damage our tissues further, and so that I can really help even develop further resources for you all. So the idea of the Just 5 Minutes classes is to give us all a motivation. I don't have any more motivation than you guys do. As I told Laurel before we got on, half the battle sometimes is just getting out of bed when it's really cold, and I certainly have no more motivation or will than anybody else. It's just this rule that I developed probably years ago in high school maybe, where I would come home and sleep for 2 hours, and then I would get up and I would go work out. And it was just the rule that I said, I'll do it for 5 minutes, and if I want to stop, I will. But every time I started, I never really stopped. Half the battle was just moving and getting started, but I was so tired. The fatigue and the pain is by far probably one of the most challenging things for me every day. Being a parent, working, but honestly, working actually helps give me motivation to get up and do something. And maybe it's a good divergence or a different way to help keep my mind off of what I'm personally going through. And I think that there's something to be said for that, whether it's parenting or whether it's just finding something else in life to do. And movement has always really helped me. I never could really work out, or I could never really play sports. I can't see very well, so I don't really have any depth perception, but I started just dancing in my living room when I was a kid, and then after that I started working out at Tabunza Steel, and then in high school I would come home and sleep and then go to an aerobics class, and movement always felt better. I didn't really know exactly why I was built the way that I was or why I felt the way I did, but then once I received the diagnosis, I realized, that's the reason. I was told at the time not to work out. It was my choice to say, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm going to listen, and I'm going to listen to my body and trust myself enough. By then I had already had a degree in public health and focus on exercise science, and just really believed that I could advocate for myself best to help myself move more and keep exercising, but in a safe way. So here I am. The Just 5 Minutes classes are my way of reaching you guys and as many people as possible. Whoever needs help, maybe it's just trying to find the tools that I have and sharing them with you guys to help you understand where to get them. But also even like little exercises that you can do during the day that aren't really exercises. They're more just ways of movement that are important to the biomechanics of our body, so that we know how to work to move well, not necessarily do more exercise classes or go to a yoga class, or it's more about moving more during the day, moving safer, and then that essentially builds up and builds strength so that you can actually move more, maybe go to the exercise class or maybe do more PT. It's all about just learning ways to help your body stay in a position and movement that protects yourselves, so you don't get hurt more, don't have more pain, and then you can do more of things in life, things that you love, all the things that you also need to do to help yourself. But it's all about just living well and finding ways to do it. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to refresh this so I can see if anybody commented, because I can't see from across the screen. My son is behind it looking at me like, this is so fun, isn't it? Yeah, Mom, it is. Yeah. So let me just make sure that anybody commented. So my first Just 5 Minutes class is, I thought, basically Laurel and I talked about that sometimes when you're at home and there's certain positions you get yourself in, you don't really know how to get yourself out without injuring yourself. So we thought about talking about that, but I also thought I would show you guys some of the things that I have at home that aren't necessarily really expensive. They're just things that I use to either keep myself comfortable or I use them when I work out. You're actually looking at, this is my yoga room. I kick the kids out. This is no longer a playroom. This is my yoga room. I figured they have enough toys, enough places to play. It was important for me to have a yoga room, and they also use it too. So I have a treadmill in here, a spinning bike, but I also have a lot of things that I bought. They're not very expensive, surprisingly inexpensive, but ways to help myself deal with pain, and I've actually learned how to help the kids. The kids know how to use the foam roller and different things, so I thought I would show you guys some tools, unless you all want specific movement, but we can do that too. But the idea of the Just 5 Minutes classes is to be quicker, something regular that we can all just kind of come together and do to keep us all motivated. But for the first one, or the one that I can tell that people are actually watching, I thought we would maybe show some resources, things that I use, and then we can talk about specific movements. If you want to actually ask a question, you need to ask it on the comment bar. I can't see you guys can see me, and all I can see is really just kind of who's there, maybe there, and then any questions I can answer if I see a comment. So the first thing I wanted to share with you guys is this. This is a knee pad. It's meant for yoga, I guess, but it also is just a way that you can buy it. I think it was maybe $10 on Amazon. I can post the link, but it's basically like a yoga knee mat, and it's something I use. My knees get very uncomfortable whenever I do any kind of exercise. I don't like my knees on the ground. My patellas are super hypermobile. So any way that I can actually keep my knees safe and help people keep their knees safe is the way that I go about. So I usually use a blanket, but then I found this thing, and I liked it because you can kind of take it anywhere. It's a little bit less bulky than an actual blanket, but basically the idea is you just put it down, you put your knees on it, and you can kind of use it for anything. It doesn't have to be for yoga. It can be for anything. If you have to do PT exercises, other exercises, and you just want some more cushion and support for your knees. So I can provide the link for this on Amazon. That's where I got it. It's nothing super special, and it wasn't anything really expensive either. So there's things like this that are out there. The other thing I was going to show you is a foam roller. I know we all have to use, and a lot of the exercises that we learn in restorative exercise are based upon a foam roller. This is called a half dome. So it's basically like a foam roller cut in half. Again, something you can easily get on Amazon for a couple of dollars. But you can use it in several different ways. You can help balance. You can use it for different exercises to help you learn how to move more. There's a ton of PT exercises you can use for it. This is also on Amazon or another place. You can find it for maybe $10. It's not very expensive, but something that's very, very useful for either PT exercise of any kind, restorative exercise movements, or just even you can roll on it to help. A lot of people use it to help with back pain. So any other specific questions about certain movements or anything? I think I was going to show you guys the movement for your feet, things you guys can do for your feet. That's just a simple exercise you can do kind of every day if you're barefoot. I know a lot of us have to wear certain inserts or orthotics in our shoes, and being barefoot is something that I was never comfortable with. I hate being barefoot. I don't like the way that it feels, but I've learned to accept that it's not necessarily a bad thing if done safely in either my yoga room here or at PT, because what happened was I was supporting myself so much, and I had so much support in my shoes, I ended up losing all the natural muscle on the bottom of my feet, and I couldn't even stand in the shower barefoot. So I ended up doing a whole lot of rehab to help restore the muscles on the bottom of my feet. Go through PT to really restore just the natural muscles on my feet, because when you lose the muscles on my feet, I couldn't even stand in the shower, and I couldn't even keep my balance in the shower. I literally felt like I was standing on my skeletons. So I try to do things that are barefoot. There's a lot of science behind that. Not necessarily all the time. We still need orthotics. We still need things when we're doing certain movements outside the house. But I've learned to kind of do a few things and stretches for my feet to help my feet, just the health of my feet. So I thought I would show you guys that first, and then take any questions if you guys have any. See if anybody made a comment. No comments. Oh, wait a minute, 6 comments. Sorry, guys. I didn't see it. Okay, feet are tight. Tools sound good. I like the idea of resting before movement time. And Brianna. All right, so we're going to go through this movement exercise, or this feet exercise. So I think you can see. Okay. Keep it right there. All right, just keep it right there. Just hold it. Okay, so you guys can see my feet. And yes, the t-shirt. Just like that. Okay, so your feet. This is barefoot. Obviously, I'm in my house. I'm comfortable. I'm in a safe environment. I'm not out somewhere where I feel like I am going to be, dangerous, or I could hurt myself. So, not about not listening to your doctor or not doing what you're supposed to, but it's about when you're in a comfortable place, you're safe, you're not going to fall, that you can do something to kind of help keep the natural muscles that we have on our feet that we need, even when we use orthotics or not. So if you can see my feet, and you're going to kind of keep your feet in alignment. The best way to kind of look at it is if you have a yoga mat or a carpet or a tile, just make sure your feet are lined up in line with the yoga mat, or with whatever straight line that you can have to measure it. Stay right there. Don't move. Don't move it, because you're going to make people sick. Try. It's hard. Okay, so you're right here, and you're going to keep your feet parallel. You can kind of, a way to measure it is if you feel your, kind of the tips of your hip bones, and that's about hip width for each of us. So our hip width is different than mine, or yours is different than mine, and mine's different than yours. But if you just feel the tops of your pelvic bones right here, and then just kind of just make sure that's about how wide your feet are, and you want to keep them in a straight line. So you can use a carpet, you can use a yoga mat, you can use a tile, just to make sure that's straight. And then you're going to look at your feet, and what you're going to first do, you stay right there, is you're going to kind of just try to pick up. Make sure you can hold on to something too if you need balance. I've done this for a little while, so I don't necessarily need. Stay right there, Johan. Don't move. I'm trying. Don't lock out your knees either. No hyperextended knees. So knees kind of slightly bent for us, and then you're gonna kind of try to pick up the tops of your toes, the tops of your big toes first. Just try to pick them up by themselves. If you need to hold on to something, or hold on to something that's gonna actually help you balance, that's fine. No, I can't. Just stay right there. Just stay right there. Okay. We're going to do this better next time. But anyway, so if I'm alignment, you just kind of try to make sure that you can try to pick up the big toe by itself. Just try to kind of do this kind of as you're standing, as you're comfortable. You can even do it in line at a grocery store if you can have shoes that actually have flexibility or the ability for you to try to pick up your big toe. And then what you want to do is, after that, you try to pick up, kind of 1 foot at a time. Or 1 toe at a time. Just kind of go like this. You're kind of just kind of flexing the toes. Now I know a lot of us have, they get, spasms in the bottom of our feet. So obviously you want to be mindful of that. And, just don't do anything that you're not comfortable with. Please keep your balance. But this is just things that you can do kind of during the day to kind of keep the health of your feet as much as you can. And then sometimes you can kind of, so you can kind of pick up your feet, toes at one time, and then try to do one at a time, all of them. Now I know some of us also kind of stand like this. This is obviously not the way you want to stand all the time, but to kind of just move around on your feet where you feel safely, if you're holding on to something or not, it's a good thing. It helps, kind of keep the muscles in the feet moving. But again, you want to do it where you're safe, where you're not feeling like you're going to fall. If you have a lot of problems with spasms in the bottom of your feet, obviously you just want to do maybe one thing and just see how your feet react to it. And then, always keep your balance. Make sure that you keep your balance, you're in a safe place, you're not gonna fall. And if you really have balance issues and you can't stand doing this, well then there's definitely modifications that can help. Or you can actually ask your PT or your doctor before you do it. But again, just a matter of just trying to pick up your 1 toe at a time, your big toe, and then, a bunch of feet, 1 foot at a time or 1 toe at a time. And then, you can just kind of play a roll around on your feet. I know we're not supposed to stand like this, but you can kind of just, moving around on our feet is not necessarily helps keep the muscles, but you want to be safe. And those are a few exercises to help keep the health of our feet. And that's pretty much it. So let me see if there's any more that are tough. So one of the things you guys can do, honestly, is even just that exercise. If your feet get tight when you're sleeping, or even in the mornings, a lot of times what I do before I even get up is I roll around my feet like this. I just kind of like flex and point my feet, and I kind of just pronate. This is called pronate when you are in, and then it's out. And of course, we always have a lot of flexibility and mobility in our ankles and our feet. So before I even get out of bed, as I'm kind of waking up in the morning, one of the first things I do to just try to see how my body is reacting and how I'm doing is I just kind of just roll around my feet. I just kind of flex and point my toes. If I do feel a spasm, I back off and just kind of go a lot more gentle. But even if I don't, it just kind of wakes up the muscles, and it starts getting my feet and the muscles in my legs just ready for movement, so that when I step down, it helps obviously with dizziness too. I'm not so dizzy when I get up, but even when I do get up, I still go very, very slow. So just when you get up in the morning, if you have a lot of problems with tightness in your feet, you can still do that same exercise, but just imagine it while you're laying supine. You don't necessarily have to be standing. You can do it while you're laying down for sure. And it's just a matter of just using them. Don't be afraid of, using the muscles and kind of rolling them around, and just, when you stretch and point them, that actually gets the muscles moving, and it actually helps the blood flow there, and it helps the blood flow up to your legs and up through the rest of your body. So that definitely helps us if you have problems with tightness in your feet while you're sleeping and even throughout the day. But if it really hurts and it really tightens, then obviously you want to back off and maybe try a little bit, maybe not such a point or not so much movement, just try a little bit at a time. Sometimes it's just a tiny bit, a little bit at a time, until your body gets used to it. All right, if there's any other questions, you guys can ask them, but the whole idea is to do this 3 times a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Meet me here. We all can be motivated together. And then we can start doing, I can show a little bit more resources. I can also do small little movements like this. We can also do, even a sun salutation if somebody wanted to. I'm open for whatever you guys want. Registering through the EDS Wellness app helps me, because then I know who's going to be there, and then I can also ask you guys what you specifically want to talk about, see, or do. And you guys motivate me just as much as it helps you all if I'm here doing this. So thank you. So any other questions, let me know. I'm happy to send you the little links to the things I showed you. I also have pictures and also videos of my feet a little bit closer that I've already taken, and I can send those. And then anything else, just let me know. All right.